Welcome to Inclusive Expat. There's the version people talk about, and then there's the one you actually live. This podcast sits in the gap between policy and people, especially when neurodivergent families move across borders. I'm Sita, and today I'm talking with Rhys about stuff and the feelings attached to it. Welcome, Rhys.
Hi.
So, Rhys, I want to talk to you about what it was like when it was time to start preparing for the move and what made sorting through your things especially hard.
So I've always been a really sentimental person, and we've moved a lot of times. But for most of these moves, I wasn't old enough to kind of really be in charge of packing my own things. So this was one of the first moves that I actually had to deal with all the stuff that I had. And I'm a collector. I love collecting things. So I had a very difficult time.
Tell us about some of the things you collect.
I would love to. I collect decks of cards to honor my late grandmother, Nana. I collect an assortment of instruments. I collect books. I love books. I love reading. I collect pins like this one. And I collect stickers.
Wonderful. That's really great. So, when you reach this difficult moment of having to sort through your things, what did people misunderstand about why it was difficult for you?
I think people didn't understand why it was so overwhelming for me. They were like, it's just stuff. But the thing is with me, I have memory problems. It comes with neurodivergence. So I have a hard time remembering things. Objects can really help me remember a memory, a place, a thing. Letting go of objects can be a really difficult task.
So, you're saying it kind of felt like letting go of that memory, letting go of that experience in a way.
Yeah,
And it sounds like hearing it's just stuff, not very validating when it's not stuff to you. It was your actual memories to you. Is that right?
exactly. That's exactly right.
So as you tried to start sorting and letting go of things, what kind of approaches made that worse?
I don't know. I couldn't really find an approach that worked for me. Like, calling friends usually helps me when I'm packing or something. It didn't help much. I feel like having people there, like in person, being with me, was definitely the most useful approach. Because when I was by myself, I would just see all the stuff that I had, and I would just get overwhelmed because it was so much, because I love my things. And all of it feels special to me. To somebody else, it might not be special, but I'm like, well, this is all important. And none of it feels less significant.
It sounds like you're already answering some of my next question, which is what actually helped. Having someone with you, that accountability, and having someone to just support you and be next to you. Were the people who were with you during those times doing anything or just being present, or were you talking about those memories as you were going through your things?
I think that there was a fair amount of talking because I needed to kind of talk it through with myself to like logic myself into like giving away some things because I was like, okay, this actually isn't that important. So I think talking it through did help me, and it was important to have the categories, gotta keep, donate, or throw away.
Okay, more of what's
Um,
helping. Yeah. So categories: keep, donate, trash, and then eventually it was packed to go to Spain or packed for storage.
mm,
It sounds like you were able to get to a place where you actually started working with your brain instead of trying to work around it. Is that right?
yeah,
Were there
organization is important for me, even though it can be hard sometimes. I find that it is something that I need to like function.
and were there pressures that made it hard for you, like timelines or things like that?
So I graduated high school early. It skipped over my junior year and went straight to my senior year, which meant I was taking 10 classes in one year instead of the normal seven. And this put a lot of pressure on me. I was also homebound at the time because of my physical disability. And so I had a lot of external pressure unrelated to the move that was
Mm-hmm.
happening during this time, and that made it really hard. And the timelines just made it worse because I have time blindness and I also have ADHD. So unless a time is like pressing down against me, unless I have like a solid deadline, it's really hard for me to get stuff done sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Was there any approach that made it more or less overwhelming besides having a person with you?
So my biggest collection is my collection of books. And I had like 3 shelves full of books at this point because I'm a book dragon. So I found it easier starting with the books and seeing this I haven't read, this I want to donate to the local peer like community, things like that. This I wanted to read this summer. It was helpful starting with something that I felt like was easier to tackle more than my sentimental items because those were definitely the most difficult.
And I hear you saying you had categories within categories within categories. So that organizing was really helpful to you.
Yeah.
Was there anything you learned about your brain during this process?
Well, I have a lot of negative self-talk. My brain was like, well, you're a hoarder. You
Mm-hmm.
have all this stuff and you're not willing to let it go. And you just keep buying more stuff. And it was kind of hard to get out of that negative mind frame and just see it like I have bad memory problems. I have OCD. Like, this is just a part of who I am, and it's a part of who I've always been. Even if it's hard, I just gotta keep moving sometimes.
Did you find that other people like me or the rest of the family or anyone who supported you during this sort of sorting, organizing your things, did you find that we were able to understand more about your brain or that you were able to sort of help us understand more about your brain through this process?
I think that my older brother Theo, he helped me so much during this process. I wouldn't have made it through this move and this sorting without him because I needed a firm hand, and Theo was there for me. And tough love is not my favorite. I don't like it. But I needed it in that moment. And he was there for me and he supported me. And we talked quite a bit about my OCD. And I think that he definitely does have a better understanding of my brain and what's going on in my brain. Like, he doesn't think I'm a hoarder. He just understands that objects hold memory for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that it helped my brother understand me a lot better.
Wow, that's great. I love that. How did labeling your neurodivergence around this help or not help in some cases?
I think most people, like everyone else in my family, we have different types of neurodivergence. So it's kind of hard to see what's presenting at different times. I think it was important that I recognized that this was my OCD because I'm the only one in the family diagnosed with OCD. Looking at what other OCD people were doing and like looking at OCD resources online, I think that that helped me because I'm like, okay, I'm not the only person like this. And looking at other people who are like, yeah, I struggle with memory. Yeah, objects are important to me. I think it was important for me to recognize that this was not a fault of mine. This
Mm.
was not something I could control. This was just the way that my brain worked. And that's okay.
Ah, so it sounds like there was some self acceptance that came through this experience, some self love.
I think so. Because I don't really talk about my OCD a lot. I talk about my ADHD a lot more than I talk about my OCD. And sometimes I forget how much my OCD affects me until it like hits me in the face.
Mm. Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think it was an important part of me accepting my OCD more.
That's great. And so you said you had some tough love with Theo helping you. In what ways did he help you that felt really supportive and respectful instead of feeling pushy, even with the tough love?
I think that him letting me talk things through and him reasoning with me and him having like a great amount of patience for me and what I needed. I think that that really helped me.
That's great. Anything else you noticed about how your needs are different than other people's as you kind of observed everyone in the family going through their own things and moving through this process as well?
It just seemed so much easier for everyone else. I just couldn't get it. I was like, I don't know why I am struggling so much. Rowan had their stuff done within days. They were like, garbage, garbage, garbage. I don't care about that. But I was like, this t-shirt from the fourth grade is important to me and I have to keep it. My
Yeah.
precious. There's
Yeah.
a lot of my preciouses happening
A lot of that. A
during
lot of
this
that.
time.
A lot of that.
So it was kind of difficult for me to see that everyone else was having a much easier time with it than I was. I was on the struggle bus when it came to sorting through my stuff. I was just like, why is it so different for me? Even if people are diagnosed with the same type of neurodivergence, it shows up for everybody differently because everybody has had different lived experiences.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
my lived experience are different even from Rowan, who is only 2 years younger than me and has had a lot of similar experiences. We're still very different in the way that our neurodivergence presents itself.
Yeah, you're wired differently. You have different brains. And I love that you're comfortable enough and open to like talk about it and joke about it, about your precious and all of that at this time because, now we're farther removed from the situation. But I do think it's great that you learned something about your brain during that time. What do you wish that we had known sooner?
I guess we couldn't have known how difficult it was going to be for me until we came up into the problem. I wish we had been able to recognize that this was going to be a hard thing for me. Like, we already knew that I was a collector, we already knew these things, but I didn't think that we realized the extent of me associating memories with objects as much as it was. So I wish that we had dealt more with my problems surrounding my memories and forgetting things more before we delved deep into me having to sort through stuff. And it possibly may have been helpful for me to start sorting sooner
Hmm.
rather than later, because I definitely think I procrastinated on that one.
Well, it was a busy time, 10 classes and all.
True, true, true.
Did you have um, any sort of feelings once everything was packed? Once everything was closed in a box or put in a suitcase or put in storage? What was that like for you?
Well, once everything was put in my suitcase, I was like, well, crap. And I have some of the stuff I want because Theo ended up doing the end part of the packing for me because I went to camp. But it was good when everything was packed. I was like, and relax. I finally could let myself breathe because just the process was very, very stressful for me. And it caused a lot of meltdowns. And it was really hard. So
Mm-hmm.
just having it all packed, I was like, it's over.
I really like what you said about that you could breathe this sigh of relief all of a sudden. That must have felt really good to see how hard it was for you, and then also get onto the other side of it.
I think that actually having our stuff be in boxes and be gone for so long made me realize the things that I did want here in Spain, the things that I was missing most, and the things that I hadn't really thought of since we moved. So I think that was also very important for me because object permanence, of course, you forget things exist. So it was important for me to realize the things I was thinking of and know that those were the things I needed to keep when the time came for the boxes to arrive.
Which leads me straight to my next question, which is what was it like on the other side unpacking?
Rough. Still rough.
So rough.
Because at the end of things, we were just like, Reese's mental health is struggling too much. We just need to put everything in a box and deal with it when we get to Spain. Don't care. Shove it in. So I was like, that's a problem for future Reese. And then future Reese was present Reese. And I was not ready. And I admittedly was the one who was in boxes for the longest on the tail end of the move. It was rough packing everything, and then it was rough unpacking everything because I still had a lot of stuff that I hadn't sorted through.
So, on the other side of it, as you started unpacking, it wasn't easier since everything was preserved. You didn't have to make the choice of getting rid of it.
No, it wasn't easier because I did end up getting rid of some things, but I was just kind of like overwhelmed at the amount of stuff that I brought because I didn't go on the recon trip. I'd never been to Europe before. I had no idea how small the apartment was going to be. I had no idea. And I ended up being in the smallest room. And that was not something that I had planned for or prepared for. And I was like, I have too much stuff for this room. Like, the amount of stuff is not equivalent to the amount of space that I have. So I kind of was like, oh, how am I going to organize all this? So it was hard because I did not know what I was going to do with some of my stuff.
And I mean, spoiler alert, organizational, bookshelves and boxes and all of those things ended up helping you. Once everything had a home, you had all those
I was so
memories
much
with you.
happier once everything had a home. I was like, yay, I have all my stuff with me. I have my room. I hung stuff up on the wall, which I procrastinated about doing that in the old house too. I was like, well, now I don't have to do this for a while. Things are gonna stay just for
Yeah.
a bit, and I don't have to pack again and move across the ocean. So it was good that I was like, okay, no more boxes. Boxes are over.
That's great. Anything that felt easier than expected on the back end?
I was worried that y'all were gonna convince me to give away more stuff. I
Mm.
was worried that because there is no storage unit in Spain. There is not one. So I was worried that I was gonna have to give away stuff that I still held fondness in my heart for. But you guys really ended up working with me and seeing how much these items were important to me, and you were like, okay, let's get the organizational stuff. Let's buy those bookshelves. Let's buy another bookshelf. Like, we didn't intend to have three bookshelves in my room, but I'd rather have all my stuff and have my space be tiny than not have my things and have more space in my room.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So
I'm
it was
glad.
about making compromises.
Yeah. Well, what would you want someone else like you to know?
That you're not a hoarder. It's okay that you love your stuff. It's okay that these things are special to you. You are allowed to keep those special items. It's okay. But truly think through what can you not live without. Even if that's something as simple as a derby car you made in the fourth grade because you had fun and you have good memories of your friends with that. Like, even if it seems like a random object of no importance to someone else, if it's important to you, keep it. So keep the things you treasure and let go of the things that no longer serve you.
And get an accountability buddy to help you do that.
Yes, ask for help, please. If
Oh.
I had not asked for help, it would have been an utter catastrophe, and it wasn't that
You
great.
might still be packing if you hadn't had
I
help.
might I might still be in boxes now. Like, who knows? So, yes, ask for help. Get that accountability buddy. Doesn't matter if they're on the phone, if they're in person, just
Well, that's
you'll get through
great.
it. I promise.
I appreciate you being so open and honest and talking about it. So, thank you for being here. Is there anything else you want to
Of
share that I
course.
didn't ask about?
I think that this was the hardest part of the move for me, honestly.
Yeah.
I thought that other things were going to be harder, like the new food and the language barrier, but the boxes caused me the most stress
Mm.
over trying new stuff. I love new food. Trying new food, that wasn't as hard. Talking to people in Spanish, it was difficult, but it wasn't as hard as getting out of my boxes
Hmm.
and sorting through my stuff. I felt like I had to choose to give away parts of my life.
And that's hard, especially during a big transition.
I just really needed to focus on caring for myself. Self-care, I think, was an important part of the move as well because I was gonna collapse if I didn't take care of my body. Because
Yeah.
you forget to eat and you forget to sleep, and it's just like you get focused on other things. and moving to a new country is a whole whirlwind of emotions. So the boxes did not help.
Sounds really important.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you, Rhys. I appreciate you talking to us about all of this today.
Of course, it's much easier to talk about it now that I'm on the other side of it.
Sigh of relief.